Oh boy. 75 minutes of this. I don't know if it's going to happen, folks. I don't know what's going to happen. Ugh. Kevin's putting the clock up. Clock says hour and 4 with some seconds, which is wrong. We have another 10 minutes after that. Oh, I would love if we only had 64 minutes of show to do, but I'm afraid that's just not the case. We just aren't that lucky. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Okay, so I hate to throw people under the bus depending on how mentally healthy I'm feeling at the time. But Jeff was supposed to do the show today. And I could swear I said this the last time this happened, but I thought I was over it. I thought I was immune. When he said he wanted to do the show, I was like, no, you don't. Come on. Who do you think you're trying to kid here? And so I told Kevin that Jeff was interested in doing the show, but I didn't actually go ahead and tell Kevin to send him an invite because I figured I would have to follow up with him today and hear him cancel. And then at that point, it wouldn't be worth Kevin's time to have sent him an invite. And so this time I was expecting that to happen. I didn't even prep the show differently. I expected it to go normal, right? Because of course. And still, I don't know. Who knows what's causing it? I don't even know if it's Jeff. I venture a guess that it's not actually. I think it's probably something else. But hey, that's why it's not good to throw him under the bus because it's probably not related to him. What's up, Kevin? You're on the show too.
Yeah, I was all excited to have him on, and then I emailed him, and his email is full, which wasn't a good omen either.
Yeah. So circling back, I texted Kevin. Jeff said he wanted to be on the show, and like I said, I did not text Kevin a follow-up email saying, hey, you want to send him the invite or you want to send me the invite so I could text it to him? Because when I talked on the phone to him the other day, he said, oh, yeah, just text it to me, which may have been a veiled reference to the fact that his email box is full. I'm not sure. Who knows? But so, yeah, that was part of my plan. But, of course, Kevin didn't get back to me. And Kevin also didn't get back to me the next day when I sent him a bitchy passive-aggressive email about the audio quality of my mic, which, by the way, I forgot to record. No recording. This episode's not going to go out. It's not being recorded. It's just a live one. No, that's not true. God damn it. Okay. So Kevin's not getting back to me, and I'm not going to lie. This rage has deflated a little bit, but I think that's possibly part of why I'm in a bad mood too, is because you never got back to me.
No, I apologize.
There's a good reason for that. Do you want to talk through a tiny bit? I don't know what you can and can't reveal, but
I have
Kevin
a
was embedded
preview
with SEAL Team 6. Oh, wait, what were you going to say?
No, I have a developer preview of the iPhone OS installed on my phone, and it's just made messaging just not work intermittently.
I got you. Yeah.
It'll look like it's gone through, and then I come back to it later, and it's like, oh, that wasn't delivered. And then I come back later, and then all the messages are just gone.
That, like, even in earlier OSs, sometimes it would send, and it wouldn't, and, like, the line would start, and it's like, I'm sure the line's going to get across, and then you open the thing, and then if you open it back up, it's like, message not sent, and it's like, well, I trusted you, I thought you would do the thing that you're supposed to do. But, well, what's the operating system like? Anything interesting about it? Notable?
The feature that I really like is that you can send calls to voicemail, and then it does speech to text on them leaving a message and shows up on your screen. So you can be like, oh, I wanted to take that, and then answer the phone while they're still leaving the message. That's a pretty handy feature, but I think pretty quickly people are just going to get used to that and then not leave meaningful messages anymore.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I fucking...
Or like bill collectors will leave like clickbait messages to get you to answer or something, you know.
Now that sounds likely. That sounds click like those. This is terrible. This is going to be like, "Hello, I am your mother calling. Please, you know, like I'm being arrested. I'm being held hostage." And it's just a robot voice because the robot voice can get onto the, you know, voice recognition thing for the text to speech or speech to text. So look forward to that, folks. It's coming right at your way. But no, I just thought Kevin was mad at me or hated me or otherwise didn't care about me. And that wasn't a good feeling to have all week.
Oh, no, I feel really bad.
No, it's fine. It's fine in the sense that, you know, it's over. But it's not fine in the sense that, man, I'm a wreck, you know, and things like that shouldn't destabilize me to the extent that they do. But they do. And so,
I didn't realize I was that important.
No,
Wow.
It's not. That's the thing. It's not. It's, you know, it's just me being fucked up. Like, you know, there's this term. I don't even know how scientific this is anymore. But there's a personality profile assessment system called Ocean Profile. It was like relevant to Cambridge Analytica and how they advertised and social media marketed during the Trump campaign. You familiar with Ocean Profiles?
Just surface level. I'm familiar with that as a term, but that was about it.
Let me see. Okay, so OCEAN is an acronym. It stands for openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism, which are the big 5 personality traits. How are those the big 5 personality? Like 4 of those seem like the same thing, right? Openness and extroversion and agreeableness all seem very similar and interrelated with conscientiousness. And then neuroticism. So maybe this is stupid. Maybe this isn't very relevant to real personalities. I don't know. But here's the thing. Neuroticism. Neuroticism is how fucked off you get by things, you know? Like someone who's neurotic is, if you move their stapler, you know, they'll burn down an entire office building or something, you know? Like they just can't handle little things. And I think that I'm just very neurotic. But I try to focus it all inward. I try to just press it deep down inside instead of, you know, being like a fucking freak. Like, you know, people who are neurotic in movies and stuff, you do that stuff and then they freak out and yell or whatever, you know. And I don't want to put people through that, so I just implode instead. And you know, so I'm spiraling and I'm like, well, I don't want to text Kevin again because like then I'm like being whiny and he already doesn't like me. Otherwise he would have responded to my text. So I can't, like, that's why I didn't text back that day. Like I waited for the next day because I was like, well, I mean, I guess this is just not a good time or whatever. I'll come back later. And so, yeah, anyway, there's all of this is to say, I'm not complaining because you have done something wrong. I'm complaining because this is a part of myself that I hate. And it's annoying because I'm the biggest victim, you know, other than the people I mistreat. But, you know, because most of the time, I focus it inward and I just feel bad and I don't take steps to resolve the situations because I feel like I'm not in a good place to do that when I'm freaking out about the thing that spun me off, you know. I don't know. Yeah. So what else? Also, PayPal. There's this. Okay. Here's this thing, Kevin. PayPal. So, and this is, I have fault in this. I have a lot of fault in this. This is probably all my fault. But you can get money by Twitch streaming. And so there's various ways to do that. One of the ways is you can link your PayPal account to Twitch. And so people can donate you money. And I think you have to like say that it's like a business or something. Otherwise they won't link it. Like, so I don't know. But so I followed some steps online and I think I must have somehow been like, had to like say like, this is commerce. This is a commercial enterprise to like get that widget to function. And so I've gotten, you know, donations on and off when I'm Twitch streaming. It's, you know, nothing crazy. I don't know. But, recently there's 2 transactions that got marked. I don't even know how the system works, but they got marked as goods and services purchases. So someone sent me money, and like, I guess there's different boxes you can click. And one of the boxes that was clicked was like goods and services as opposed to like friends and family or something. So because of that, they're like, well, you have a personal account and you're doing business transactions on it. And so it flagged it, and they've quote unquote limited my account, which I don't know what that means. The only reason I care about it at all is because they keep sending me weird text messages that seem like they're from some sort of phishing, scam, saying like, you gotta fucking update your details or whatever because of this, your account's been limited. And so I'm just like, I don't believe this. Second of all, I don't care. I don't know how this affects me. But one day I just was like, hey, I'll look into it this week. And so it showed me the 2 transactions, and it said, please provide details of the transactions. So I was like, this is not a purchase, you fucking idiot, or whatever. And I did that, and then also wanted me to submit a picture of my driver's license. And I don't know, like, so it just it just pissed me off. I was like, I'm not running a business. This is not like, I talked to my tax people. They said I'm not even making enough that you have to claim it as anything, like it's not anything. Like, it's not, I don't know, like, and I'm not a fucking tax guy, so I don't know the actual truth, but but so it's like, so who are you to ask me for my ID to scan it into your computer? Like, it's PayPal. It's owned by fucking Peter Thiel or whatever, right? I don't want to fucking, I don't trust these people with any of my stuff. Like, so I don't want to give you my ID because you flagged a transaction or something. I don't even fucking care. Like, I never even used PayPal in the first place, other than I think maybe my Venmo was linked to my PayPal. I don't know. But so it's like this and so, but the thing is, you can't just submit your ID. You have to submit your ID in either a scan of your social security card or a scan of your face, like a 3D scan of your head, which you do with your phone or something. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not doing this. Like, I've had this account since 2003 or something. It's been attached to the same fucking bank account for all these years. I haven't done anything. Like, there's no reason for you to question my identity, and I'll verify my identity. I used to be verified on Twitter. Thank you very much. So I eventually get into I don't know. I go into the chat room to talk to an idiot, about the chat, and they're talking like fucking machines and robots, and I'm like, is this secretly AI or something? The way that they're talking about this stuff is so tangential to anything I've said, and so vague in terms of the policies and what they actually care about, that I just have no clue what's going on. So I started getting mad, and I do something I typically don't do because, don't shoot the messenger, right? But I started in the chat, I was cussing at some of these people, which is not good, and I'm ashamed of it. And I don't think it's a good way to be, but I was really frustrated. And at some point, I'm like, you're a fucking robot who works for a famously wealthy Nazi. Get the fuck off my back, dude. And the thing is, I don't even want the account. It doesn't even matter to me. The only reason I'm even following it up is because they keep sending me stuff, and I'm like, just stop doing this, And so then I'm like, well, if you can't fucking unlimit my account, if you can't lift the restrictions without scanning my fucking face, just close the account. And they're like, well, we can't close your account because it's limited. And I'm like, what? What are you fucking talking about? And then so I asked to talk to their supervisor, and then the supervisor was giving me the same shit. And then I was like, let me talk to your supervisor on the phone. And so they were like, sure, no problem. We're going to schedule a call. And I was like, no, just let me call them. Don't schedule a call. And they're like, well, we'll call you. And so then I'm at my friend's house because we're working on something, and we're trying to write stuff. We've been everybody's making this joke, but we got hired by Disney to write the next Star Wars trilogy for about $5,000 a piece. We're really excited about that. But hey, so we're trying to come up with new pilots and stuff. But so I see my phone ring one ring because my phone's just sitting there on the chair, and it rings once and goes to message. And then about 2 hours later, a different number rings once and goes to message, and they don't leave a message. And then I get an email saying, we've made multiple attempts to reach you. You can call us back. And it's like, no, you two is not multiple. You don't say multiple with the word two. Multiple is 3 or more. Otherwise it's like twice, and then also you did not make, these are not attempts to reach me. I mean, letting it ring out is like a way to reach me, hanging up the phone before it gets to voicemail. That's not attempting to reach anybody. And so now I'm just like, I'm going to call him back later and basically just yell and then give up, because the thing about my account being limited is I can't access the funds until 6 months from the transactions. But also I don't need them because it's no money and I don't care. And I've never touched that account. It doesn't matter. If I'm ever destitute, I could pull that money out, but I probably won't be destitute for at least another 6 months. So just even the limitation on my account isn't anything other than a pretense for them to fucking annoy me and beg for my face, because despite them, agreeing, they said they'd promised they'd never use my data for anything. And so what I want to do is talk to whoever supervisor was trying to call me or whatever. And I want to say well, sign a contract saying if you ever use my data for anything, you will give me $5 million. And I'm sure they'll come up with a reason why they can't do that. But it's like, well, if you can't do that, then you do want to sell my data, which, is a logical fallacy, but I don't care. Because I just want to make them feel bad the way they made me feel bad. What's up, Kevin?
I'm sorry you're having such a tough time with PayPal. I don't like them either.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is I just want to shut down my account. I was even willing to give them the money in the account to shut it down. I don't fucking care. I mean, I'd rather withdraw and light it on fire and then scan that as my face. It's the flaming money. I'd rather do that, but hey, I have to wait 6 months for that. But yeah. So, but we're not the only one that's had a struggle. I'm not the only person who's had a rough time. I hear you had some problems with a beverage recently. Is that true?
Okay. Well, I mean, this is a little crazy, but so I went to a Mexican restaurant and I ordered, it's one of those places that has they rip open the bag of Doritos and they just put taco fillings in it and shake it around and they hand it back to you and go, there you go. There's your
Frito
taco
pie
in the bag
sometimes.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I wanted a drink and their choices were either ice cream based, which I didn't think was going to go with what I was eating, or a Red Bull or a Monster. So I picked a Red Bull. And she said, do you want it complete? And I had no idea what she meant. So I was just like, yes, I do. So she took a 64-ounce big gulp size cup, poured a Red Bull in, and then kind of looks at it and realizes that does not even come close to filling it up. So as far as I can tell, she just started putting random things behind the counter in the drink. She took the Red Bull, pours it in, and I thought, okay, this is doing good. Then she put some fruit in there, and I'm like, oh, this is a fruity drink. Okay, I like where this is going. She put some melon and strawberries and stuff like that. And then she grabs a jar of jalapenos, pickled, and dumps it in there with the brine in there too.
Ugh.
And then she puts in some peanuts in there. And it was just a mix of just random things that they had behind the counter. And some, I think Bloody Mary mix is what it looked like. Part of it was, but the bitter vinegary brine from the jalapeno just overpowered everything. So she hands it back to me. And I take a sip and it's just disgusting. It's so bad. And she's giving me that look of do you like it? And I one of those where both of you know it's terrible, but you're trying to act like it's not so you don't hurt her feelings. And she's trying to act like it's not terrible because she just made it. Mm-hmm. So we both just sort of pretended to like this idea, and I paid her $6 for it and did not drink any of it. Yeah.
That's not bad price wise, honestly.
Oh yeah, there was corn. It was because they also sell elote, so it was street corn. So she put some corn and some nacho cheese in there and stirred the whole thing up. It was. I'll order one next week.
See, this is why I call Kevin a liar. Now Kevin is alleging there's corn and nacho
there was
cheese.
Corn. Yes, there was. I will order one for next week and bring it here. I threw it away because it was so bad. I went to Taco Bell next door and got a Baja Blast. So I had a melted Baja Blast here instead. No, I will. This thing was so nasty. So on the menu, they called it a fully prepared Red Bull.
I don't like to peel back the curtain too much, but we were talking about this before the show. That's how I knew to bring it up. And but in this telling, what strikes me is that like maybe just like they say, try it complete just with any item, any menu item. And it's not something they normally offer for a beverage or for a Red Bull, but it's just like they're so ingrained into doing it that maybe you just got a Red Bull and she's like, well, do you want to complete? And then it was like, stupid. And then you were like, yeah. And she was like, God damn it, what the fuck? And then so you just had to do the thing they normally do to more of the like the low taste side or whatever. I don't know, because like, with fruit and stuff, usually you put like tahini or like, the syrup that's kind of like a spicy. Was there that or was it's
no, it was just like
right. So this is like the savory treatment. This is like, it's not like what they do. They have the savory dishes and the sweeter dishes. Like sometimes there's places around here that do that with candy or fruit. Like you can get a bunch of Sour Patch Kids and they'll roll them in tahini and stuff and put syrup and whatever. But and they do the fruit the similar way. But then also you could get like more corn stuff, and that's more of a savory thing. But the idea, it's just a full savory treatment.
And she handed a spoon
beverage.
and a straw to me. Like she wasn't sure which one I was going to go with, but yeah.
Sure.
So I would love to see who orders this item and what they think of it.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah.
Maybe it was meant to be a savory dish with some Red Bull splashed on top of it or something. And I was expecting a drink and was like trying to slurp this with a straw.
Yeah, but I don't think you'd pour Red Bull over anything other than like ice cream, and then you wouldn't top ice cream with any of that stuff on any level. I don't know. Does anyone weigh in if you're in the other Discord? Send us your thoughts on what the fuck happened.
Okay, one person says that sounds like Dan's Bloody Mary at the Tin Roof, which is what I was thinking of actually too when we were talking before the show. Remember that monstrosity they made him?
Yeah, but those things are pretty standard for like a plus stuff. Like if he didn't choke on it, I don't even think there'd be much to that as a story. It's just like an interesting kind of flair for an interesting kind of dish, I obviously it was a lot. It was overboard, but I don't think it was that many steps overboard. Like if they just also like tossed fertilizer into it or something, that would kind of start to approach what seems to have happened to you. Assuming you're telling the truth, which is a dangerous assumption in my opinion. But what's worse than that is Elon Musk. That's right, folks. It's time for Elon Musk. You got any sound effects? I didn't talk to you about sound effects before this. Oh, yes. Okay. I texted Kevin back when his phone was working. I texted Kevin, we got to do an emergency episode of the podcast because Elon Musk tweeted that he wants to have a dick measuring contest between him and Mark Zuckerberg, which I don't know. What do you even say at this point? I just hope a bomb.
What does his mom
off.
think of this idea? I don't know.
Oh, she's a huge fan, I'm sure. Do you actually buy that's his mom on Twitter? I feel like that's him. Like he's doing that.
I think he's got so many alts on there at this point that I've lost track of which is him and which isn't.
Yeah, he probably has Twitter employees like manning some of his alts or something, just so he doesn't have to accidentally screenshot his alt. Like that one time he did, and he was role playing as a horny child for some reason. Which, for a crowd that's always screaming about groomers, that strikes me as right in the pocket of the kind of thing you wouldn't like. But hey, I don't know. There's nothing interesting to say. I guess the only thing interesting that I have to say is it strikes me as the kind of thing he researched before. Like, I feel like he paid upwards of tens of thousands of dollars to find out people who have slept with Mark Zuckerberg and found out the size of his dick or whatever before engaging in this challenge. But it's more likely that he's just shitposting. Which honestly would be more normal if he was shitposting, but goddamn. The other thing is that like 24 hours later, he was still like tweeting and replying to that tweet of his. So it's like, he's really just thinking about this idea. It's not... What the fuck is wrong? I mean, the problem is just being rich. Rich people are functionally insane, for the vast majority of them. But I hope they all end up in prison. Jesus Christ. Okay. I thought I had more for that, but I didn't. I mean, what do you say? It's just awful. That's the kind of news update that's like, why are we even following Elon Musk? It makes us, it's worse. It's more toxic to us, than it is to, whatever. Some jackass in the chat. Sorry, Matthew D. Matthew D says, if you're taking questions, I'd love to hear Spencer break down the SAG strike. The SAG strike is just the WGA strike. They're trying to take everyone's jobs with AI. They're already scanning people. Something they've been doing with background actors is paying them a day rate of 1 day's background appearances, which is from like $50 to $200. It's not very much, to scan their body in, and then that scanned body can be used by companies in perpetuity forever. In background scenes without paying that person. So that's something that's been happening. Before that was revealed, it was revealed that other actors were also just being, not background actors, were also being given that opportunity, like people who were in like Star Wars projects or something. I don't know. I don't want to get sued. But like bigger name projects, either movie or TV, were also just saying like, hey, as part of this acting deal, you're going to act on this show for a season, and also you'll scan your body in perpetuity and stuff. And it's like, man, it's just so... It's like Donald Trump, where it's just so egregious and incompetent, the level of evil that they're stooping to. And it's like, don't you see that this jeopardizes your evil agenda by doing it this bad? Like, if it were me, I'd be like, okay, here you go. You're going to act on this series, and we're going to have you back next season or whatever. And this is just, but, just for fun, you can also get a bonus if you give us 2 years, 5 years of background rights or something. So it's like, but for a main character, I don't know. And then slowly ramp it up to forever. Like the idea, it's like, hey, would you like to be replaced by an AI model forever for no money? That's like, why do you think that's gonna sell anyone? And that's what's happening fucking everywhere. They think like they're just so stupid. I don't get it. I think the problem is that tech bros have completely taken over Hollywood, and tech bros are just the biggest dipshits on the planet, and they don't understand anything. They even understand less than like idiot businessmen, because at least idiot businessmen like have some semblance of an understanding of how business functions, where they don't, and so they're also just dictating their dipshit ideas to like business decisions in addition to just nonsense. But I think the tech bro approach to streaming has completely flattened television and made it completely unspecial. And that was the magic that made TV work. The cultural conversation around shows, the idea that shows are limited and special and hard to find, and sometimes you blink and you miss it and stuff, like, is what made them so powerful. And that's not to say that, we shouldn't be able to stream entire back catalogs, but you can't, what they did is like this very tech bro thing. It's like an Android phone, where it's like, okay, here's all these features, let's put them in the phone, and then we'll say iPhone can't do this. And it's like, yeah, but is the phone good? Because iPhones work pretty well most of the time, and this is in the past. I think Androids are a lot better these days. But, like what about the actual experience of using it? And it's like, no, we have all these features. We designed them with money. We're going to put them in, and that will make you like it. It's like, that's not what a user experience is, And I think that approach to streaming is really harmful. They're just like, we'll just have these catalogs, we'll buy the rights to them, and we'll put them on, and then you could search them in the search box, and now you have everything. And it's like, but that's not a good user experience. That can't replicate the magic of television. And there, I think free ad-supported television, also known as FAST, also known as, which is the kind of networks that Pluto TV are and Free VR. It's basically, it's free. You don't have to pay a subscription fee, but you do have to watch ads. And I think that at least gets a little bit closer to, preserving TV, because having programming on that you can tune into, which is what Pluto TV does, it kind of preserves some of that magic, some of that cultural conversation, especially in the era of like Twitch streaming and stuff. Like, we could be creating reasons to congregate and watch TV and talk about it together. And they're just not tapping into it at all, because they're just like, well, we bought the rights to this stuff. We have all this stuff. Let's put it in a box and just ship someone the box. And it's like, yeah, but that's why it's not special. That's why no one cares, so it's all bad. And it's like, it's all these terrible business decisions that have like ruined the industry and are making it so fucked right now. And like, all we want to do is actually make it good. Like, I don't know, like, it's just, it's so bad. I don't know. But the SAG stuff is just the same stuff as the WGA. Well, wasn't there another thing? I don't know. I don't know how much we talked about it on the podcast, but I think, to me, there's honestly a decent chance, and I'm not saying this is scaremongering. I think we should push forward no matter what, but I think there's a decent chance that if we win all of the negotiations and get everything that we want, that the whole industry will collapse. And I don't think it'll collapse forever, but I think it will like collapse in a way that will then need to be rebuilt, because I think a lot of modern day entertainment is built on these really shaky, broken promises, or like foundations, where like the MIB writer, I can't remember the guy's name, the guy who wrote the first Men in Black movie, he had a tweet thread recently that was about how every year since it's come out, the distributors, let's just say Sony. I'm sure it's not Sony. Sony, don't sue me. But this company, let's say it's Sue me. Yeah, Ed Solomon. Thanks, Kevin. He was tweeting about this, and he said every year Men in Black has been unprofitable, has not made a profit, and yet they've made 5 Men in Black movies. So is it unprofitable? Because typically you don't make sequels to unprofitable movies. That would be burning money, and so why would they do that if it was unprofitable? But year after year, they send him a statement saying, hey, didn't make any profit, can't share any profits with you. And how they do that is they have shell corporations for various industries. So let's say Sony advertising, Sony marketing or something. And what they do is they find out how much revenue a project is going to make. And then they decide to have their shell company, Sony advertising, send them a bill for exactly that much money plus a tiny amount, basically, is how they do it. How they actually do it is debt renegotiation, but functionally it's like what I'm saying. And so they're saying like, Sony advertising is charging us, Sony Pictures, for their advertising that they did on the movie. And so we actually have to pay this amount. And so we didn't make any profit. We're in the red. And then they pay that money to Sony advertising, and then Sony advertising funnels it back to Sony Pictures, because it's fucking fraud, like it's financial fraud. And so they do that to say that the movie hasn't made money. And they do this in every fucking movie, in every fucking industry, to claim everything is losing money, and they never have to engage in the profit sharing that their contracts are in. Similarly, well, maybe not that similarly, but on another level, I think streamers are essentially just tech companies, and how tech companies operate is at massive, massive losses. And then they furnish those losses by getting a lot of investment money, because, everyone's like, oh, wow, the stock prices are going up, we'll all pay out. And eventually, like, they basically like sell everything off before it implodes, and then it implodes. So like, that's kind of a very typical tech business, tech bro business model. And that's basically been what's holding like Netflix aloft and other companies aloft, is this cash infusion, because they're operating at a loss, is my understanding. And that's part of why they had such a big retraction recently. And they started saying like, oh, we're not going to be making as much series and stuff. And they started purging their libraries, is because I think at some point this rubber is hitting the road, and they're like, well, we're not getting as much investor cash as we used to. So we're starting to hit the point in the cycle where the thing blows up, and we haven't sold off yet. They're supposed to sell off before this happens. And so between those two things, I think like the foundations of Hollywood are built on massive stacks of fraud. And when you actually reveal that, I would expect it to collapse like a house of cards. But the thing is, it's not that there's no money. It's just that the money all goes to the top. And so the people who have a vested interest in keeping the house of cards afloat are the people making it break, you know? And so I think it's really necessary because, again, they're just defrauding people out of their hard-earned money and saying it's business as usual. And then people are like, yeah, it's a recession. It's times are tough. You know, people are canceling their subscriptions. It's like, that's not what's happening. What's happening is they've been operating at fraud for at least 20, 30 years, you know? And it's not even that their chickens are coming home to roost. It's just that they've done that so much. There's just no more money other than the money they've already given themselves. And they're like, ugh. We gotta squeeze you guys harder. It's insane. I don't know. I think the SAG strike is good just because actors are more cared about than writers. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have anything more to say about the strike. What about you, Kevin? You got anything to say about the strike?
No, but this kind of reminds me of how the video game industry works as well. Mm-hmm. You know, I used to work for Midway Games back in the 90s, and they would play sort of similar accounting games with us a little bit where, you know, like, so if you think back to the big video game companies of the 80s and 90s, the way games worked then was that there would be the arcade version where they would churn out multiple revisions of it until they got the game nailed down perfectly. Then they would make the home version. So like Mortal Kombat came out in the arcades first, where they only had, you know, thousands of machines out there, where sending an upgrade out to fix bugs and stuff like that wasn't that big. It was expensive, but it wasn't a deal breaker. Because this was like before.
Would the upgrade be like a separate board card that fit into the machine with the original?
It usually would just be swap these two chips out. Swap. You know, we'd send each operator of arcades and stuff like that. Like, you know, yeah, you have 10 machines, each needs 2 chips to upgrade. So we're going to send you 20 chips to fix these bugs and things like that. And then when they got to the point where the game was, you know, pretty solid, they would send this off to the teams that would convert to the home use and things like that. And so like if you were the creator of like Mortal Kombat or NBA Jam or stuff like that, you would make a small amount of money, a very, very small amount of money off the arcade version of it, because everyone knew, like, you know, that we're only selling thousands of those machines at most, where a popular home game would sell millions. Mm-hmm. So they would do all kinds of funny games like that, though. You know, you're only making 10 cents per arcade machine sold, but we're also deducting out all these marketing expenses, even for the home versions and stuff like that, too, because it somehow made more sense for them to do it that way, because the home version wasn't even finished yet at the time, but they were already advertising it. So they charge it to the arcade version. Well, I worked on a game, and I don't mean to sound like I've got like sour grapes about this or anything. It was just
just an interesting look that's related to what we're talking about, right?
Yeah. I worked on a game at Midway called Touchmaster, which was those bar top touchscreen games that had like trivia and card games and stuff like that.
I don't know if you want to talk about this, Kevin. You know, Touchmaster recently got canceled.
Yeah. Yeah. The name alone just did not age well, but it was unusual in that it was the only game that Midway made that did not have a home version. So we all signed the same royalty agreements and everything, though. And that was like, you know, hey, Kevin, you're going to get 10 cents per machine, and we're going to sell maybe 5,000 of these things. So there you go. There's your bonus. You know, I don't mean to sound ungrateful, but that wasn't the millions that the other people that I worked with were taking home and stuff like that, too.
Sure.
So they were like, okay, yeah, you're right. But really, we don't really make money off of this game. So, we can only give you so much, because we're not really making money off this. You should just be grateful that you have this at all. So I was like, okay. And then we read the like yearly report to shareholders of like, Touchmaster was the only profitable game we've had in 5 years. And it, you know, was all this, and it was all, you know, we made all this money off of it. So we went back and went, hey, where's our money? And they went, well, sorry, you only get what your contract says. But if you want to renegotiate your contract for the next game, go for it. But they considered, like, you know, Touchmaster was one of those things where like every 6 months the bar owner could buy an upgrade for it and buy new games. Well, that was still the same game. That wasn't a new game. So the old contract still applied. And we kind of went, well, that's okay. We're doing stuff we enjoy. That's fine. And then we find out they sold the home rights to it to another company, which is where we should have made making all of our money from,
Right.
and stripped our names off of it, and we made nothing off of it then. But they literally went into the game source code and took our names out of it, made a Game Boy version of it, and then told us we didn't get any money off of it because we had nothing to do with that version.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I
So
think
that was around the time I left that company.
That's good. That's you gotta stand up for yourself. And not even to mention back then, $500 for 10 cents of 5,000, you could buy a house for that much back then.
Yes.
But-
I bought 3 houses.
But that reminds me of, like, people are like, oh, everyone's worried about the AI writers are going to replace them. Don't worry, man. AI writers can't replace you. They got to be trained on real people's stories, man. And it's like, again, it's like this idea that, like, what's actually happening is market competition. Like, it's like, no, there's just new technology, and now you have to compete with a steam shovel. It's like, no, that's not what they want to do. What they want to do is they want to type in ChatGPT, please write me a really good action flick that's like John Wick plus Sex in the City. And then it'll write the most horrible thing in the world, and it'll only be 3 pages because, ChatGPT can only, like, do something that's like 3 pages before giving up. And then they'll hand that to a writer and say, like, we got first credit because this is our script, because in the business, the first draft of a script for a movie project gets the most money. That person's name is usually on the final product, and they get, like, the highest fee for writing. And then you can hire people for rewrites at a vastly reduced rate, or you can hire people for just punch up to do jokes for an even more reduced rate. And so they'll be like, well, we have studio retains credits. And in my paranoid thoughts, I'm like, not only does the studio retain credits, the dipshit suit who typed in write me a script, they're gonna put their name on it, so it's gonna be fucking written by executive asshole, and then they're gonna pay someone like $5,000 to write an entire script from whole cloth because they got a 3-page printout from fucking ChatGPT that says stuff like, well, Martha, it's good to be Wick or something, and it's like, that's not anything. But because technically there is a piece of paper, we could call it the first draft, and then we can hire as many writers as we want and pay them less than 10% of what we would have paid for our first draft. My name, dipshit CEO asshole, is on the written by credit, and now I'm the filmmaker because I typed it into the prompt, and that's what they want. And that's a lot different than, like, oh, you just have to submit drafts that are better than ChatGPT drafts. It's like, no, it's not. People assume an even playing field. It's like, no, it's all forgery and fraud. That's the whole fucking, that's the end game. And it's just not good. But what is good is reading emails. Oh boy. Anthony
While you're finding
Locke.
one, let me. Sorry, go ahead. I was going to ask you one more follow-up question.
Yes.
Do you worry at some point, though, that if this strike goes on too long, the movie companies and the powers that be just might go, you know what? Fine, we're going to just use AI for everything from this point forward. Then you push too hard. Like, is there a point where you worry that's going to happen?
I mean, I worry there's a downside to keeping pushing too hard, but I don't think that's the downside, because what that would mean is the worst garbage comes out, and no matter what happens, it'll be really bad and embarrassing, One of the things is, like, these companies live and die on earnings calls. That's where, CEOs get fired or whatever the fuck, is because of earnings calls. At the end of July, there's an earnings call. And so what we hope will happen is their earnings will be way, way down somehow because of the strike. And then that'll lead to someone getting fired, which will lead to, increased pressure to actually accept our deal. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really do think it could all come crumbling down, but I think that would be good if that happened, because we have the talent. We're the ones that do it. So we just need distributors, and I think it's even the case that like potentially a collective of artists could approach, I don't know, venture capital firms or something and say, like, we want an artist owned distribution channel, be that, something we build up that's like an alternative to Crackle or Paramount Plus or whatever, or be that we just want to partner with YouTube. And now YouTube is like the artist focused whatever, because I think once, if that's the problem, is you can do what Ben Affleck did with his movie Air, where it was like artist owned cooperative shared profits, and you make everything for way cheaper, and it's way better, and everybody takes home more money, and that's what Ben Affleck did. And you could do that, but the problem is then you need distribution. Like, I think it's not super hard to distribute a movie because, you could go directly to film like festivals or, theaters or whatever. But television distribution is a bit harder because either you have to do, like what comedians do and sell it on your website, or you need to put it on YouTube, or you need to, find like a streamer or a company that'll take it. And if, your model is an existential threat to those distributors, they're not going to distribute it, But I do think there's a potential for it to get actually like worker owned and kind of cooperative if it does come crumbling down. And in it also, if it comes crumbling down, it's probably because it deserves it. It's not because, we ruined a good thing. Like the business people ruined a good thing because that's the thing, is that business people turns out they're not good at business because they want to do the things that please investors. And that's bad business because it's not healthy for the business. It's healthy for one metric that cares to the people that have the most to lose off of that metric. But, like one of the reasons all movies suck now is because Marvel movies were such blockbusters. They were like, well, why would we make movies that aren't blockbusters? Let's just only make wildly successful movies, which that's such a stupid idea. It's like, I don't know. That's like, what if I held a press conference saying like, I'm joining Major League Baseball. If you wanna hire me onto your team, I'll play for $100 million a season, whatever. And what I'm promising is I will only hit home runs. It's like, yeah, that would be great. That would be so good if you only hit home runs. Do you have a plan to actually do that? Yeah, well, we have the best people, and we're working really hard with the talents of the industry, the luminaries. It's like, that's not an answer to the question. What is the plan? And that was literally their business plan. Let's not make movies that have no potential to be blockbusters, and only make things that cost so much money that flops are really, really bad. And even the blockbuster potential isn't that good. And so it really increases their exposure to, making big bombs, because the big bombs are so expensive. They take a huge financial hit. So it's like, that's bad business, no matter how you slice it. And you could point to a million decisions like this that are just bad business. And when bad business people make bad business decisions, the bad business people don't pay the price. We pay the price. And like, it's not reasonable. It's like, we've been good this whole time. We've been talented, and I say we, I don't mean me. I'm not talented. I'm not any of these positive attributes. But writers and artisans, like they do really good work. Like, if you've ever been on a set, it's fucking crazy how proficient everybody is. Like, it's amazing. Even at its most dysfunctional, it's really incredible, the level of coordination and skill that goes into any single stupid anything. The way they apply deglossing spray to a book prop to make it look old when it was bought brand new. That's amazing. And that's, I don't know, that's like a quarter of a brick in a massive brick building, and even that's really impressive. Every single thing is super impressive, but even to the last tiny detail is really impressive. Everybody's holding up their end. The only people that aren't is the fucking business people. And they're the ones, coincidentally, making the absolute most money to ruin the industry. It's insane. Anyway, Anthony writes, I, for one, am missing Jeff's presence on the podcast, but I've come to terms that he probably isn't going to be a regular anytime soon. With that said, I think it would be funny to have guests come on and play the part of Jeff B. Davis. They share a story we've all heard on Harmontown, sing a song, dress in a suit, and play a short Dungeons and Dragons campaign. It won't matter that the guest wasn't there the week before, because Jeff could never remember what happened anyways. Anyway, love the show. Keep up the work. We love you, Jeff. You're good. The thing is, the podcast is not his priority, and it doesn't have to be his priority. That's fine. It shouldn't be my priority. The reason I do it is because it's on the calendar, if it was like, if I had to call Kevin and say, hey, do you want to record a podcast this week? podcast would be over because I would not do that. But because, this was also what was getting me so depressed is that like, I don't feel like most of how I fill my time is building towards anything that helps me, and then usually when I try and rely on other people, it fails. And I don't know how much I've talked about this, but a big trauma for me is my parents multiple times saying something to the effect of, you can always come to us whenever you need help with anything. Cut to me doing that and them saying like, well, you have to deal with this yourself. And it's like, what? But you said, like, you didn't have to say that, and so that just happened so much. It just ingrained in me that I can't trust other people to help me with anything. I have to be entirely self-sufficient, because the second I'm like, oh, well, maybe someone will point out that my shoe's untied. When I bet on something like that, it's like, that's when I trip and kill myself, and so that's not good. But it's like, so I just do stuff like this. And like last week, I'm like, maybe someone can help me figure out a new premise to the podcast. And then the people are like, oh, you don't need to change. Everything's good. Everything you're doing is so good. It's like, no, it's not. It's not so good. If it was so good, I wouldn't be this fucking miserable. I'd be feeling good. And I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling bad. So you guys who are telling me it actually is good, you're gaslighting me right now. Because it's not. It sucks. It sucks, and I'm not saying the output sucks. I'm saying the my life sucks, and how this stuff intersects with my life sucks, and I fucking hate it, and I wish it was different, and I don't have the strength to do anything because I'm too neurotic or something, and I just, every time I'm like, oh, maybe we could do this, I text Kevin and it doesn't get through because of tech problems, and then I like collapse, and then it's like, well, I'm never going to try anything again, which is, again, it's not you, Kevin. It's like normal people don't react to that when someone doesn't respond to a text message or something, but I do, and so it makes it it's like, so I'm so able to keep myself from doing things that I need to be doing, and it sucks. It fucking sucks. I hate it. And then I'm like, what should the podcast be about? And they're like, nothing. And it's like, great. Well, I'm glad I fucking asked. I'm glad I tried to rely on another human yet again. Okay. Tab writes, hi, Spencer. While you may not have found this kind of personal connection, see, this relates, personal connection via Hollywood that you were hoping for, I want you to know that you did make a lot of connections that are special to the people you made connections with. I know, because I'm one of those people. I went to the premiere of the Harmontown film in New York City, and I will never forget getting a picture with you. That picture is attached. To this day, I still cherish that picture and that memory. Nowadays, I love listening to your monologues on That Happens. You're a national treasure, sir. And attaching the picture. What a lovely picture. I look like I used to be happy. The people write me stuff like this, and I'll tell you this, that made me feel better. I don't know why. I'll tell you, a lot of times people send me stuff like that. It doesn't make me feel better at all. If anything, it often makes me feel worse, because my reaction is like, great, I'm glad you got something from it. I'm pissed and miserable. Everybody I interact with fucking loves it. They love interacting with me. Everyone's like, oh, you guys, it's so great. It's so great. It's like, but when am I going to fucking benefit? When do I feel good about interacting with people? And again, like I said, that email did make me feel good, but most of the times it doesn't. It just makes me feel more mad, because it's like, great, all these other people are benefiting from me being cool, except for me. It's time to let Kevin talk. What's up, Kevin?
Wow. No, I don't know. I feel like you fight the praise that you get because you don't think it's legitimate, but you're your own worst critic at the same time. So it's like it's a hard position you put yourself in. Yeah,
it sucks. There's that song. It's like I'm not gonna talk about that song. I don't know it enough. Hey, Jason says hi. Jason's the only thing that's going right in my life, and I'm sure she's about to drop dead, because she's the only thing going on in my life right now. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking about, man, I've been feeling good lately. Like, it's been so weird how I haven't felt bad in so long. And, there is a silver lining to all this, which is that I'm glad it was actually just like a phase I was going through, was feeling good. It wasn't like, I don't know, because if it always felt like that, I think I would have still been pretty worried. But now having this new low is like, good. Okay, I can actually appreciate that moment now that it's over. Zim writes, did you ever get your ham radio license? Do you like Assassin's Creed? And what's your take on secret cabals derived from ancient societies running global historic events behind the scenes IRL? Do you guys still play Marvel Snap? Have you had a White Whale soda? Have you heard about the recent alien stuff in Vegas coinciding with the latest supposedly reputable reports of government having alien tech? You want to weigh in on any of these, Kevin? You got a ham radio license?
I took the tests and everything, but never actually applied for the license.
Mm-hmm.
So no, it was something that was interesting to me, but then I never pursued it.
Yeah, I read the whole. You buy this workbook to teach you the premises, and then you got to take a test, which you have to pay money to take the test. I took the test. I did get the license. I never used it or anything. But here, if you ever want a ham radio license, here's what you do. There's websites that kind of randomize test questions, and you can just take the tests. And basically, the questions are always from the same pool. And so if you just take the test over and over and over and over and over and over, you'll just memorize the right answers. And then you don't actually have to learn anything about ham radio at all, and after you get the license, you won't know what you're doing. You will have no way of understanding, because the test questions really don't actually have a lot to do with the actual operation of the thing. But it is important information. But yeah, so if you want a ham radio, just cheat the tests by practicing them until you memorize them. I don't like Assassin's Creed. I don't have a take on secret cabals. I don't play Marvel Snap anymore. I haven't had a White Whale soda. What about you? Any of those? Probably not, right?
Nope, none of the above.
I don't know about secret cabals. I don't have any. I don't know. I'm sorry, Zim. We're not doing Zim justice. I haven't even heard of this recent alien stuff in Vegas, unless it was that Navy guy who was talking about aliens. But
I think
that happens all the time. Yeah. Maybe we talked about that in the past, but I just think it's usually retired government people. They're we've seen aliens. But to me, it's like being an active government person saying the same thing. It just feels like the same thing. My take on that is those people are lying for clout. I don't care if they did or didn't see anything. They're still lying for clout. The things they're saying are generally lies, or mostly lies, or presented bits of facts that are presented mostly as lies. And the government has no vested interest in stopping them. Why would it? It's some crazy guy is saying something. It would be worse to respond to this stuff. So that's my take on the aliens. What about you, Kevin?
Yeah, I used to be really into stuff like that until I just noticed the same pattern of retired government guy tells barely plausible story that never pans out into anything.
Exactly.
Over and over and over and over again. And it just became, I don't know, disheartening, because I was I was so into it, I wanted to believe the stuff so badly. And then I just came across, I don't know, I came to the conclusion, I think that everybody who put something like that forward was doing it for notoriety. And
exactly.
It was just all made up nonsense.
And I think there are real something. I don't know what it is. A fun theory I have right now is that they're time travelers. But hey, I do put stock in that. But I think the vast majority of people talking about it are fakers. And here's the thing. It doesn't even matter if they have access to real information. Have we talked about this? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
But it doesn't even matter if they have access to real stuff. Because it's not good for their business model. It's like Discovery TV, where what they're incentivized to do is set something up and then cut to commercial, that's what you do. And you can set something up and cut to commercial, even if you don't actually come back to that thing you were saying you're going to get to after the commercial, because they already watched the commercials. You could even then say, do the same thing with the same thing and say, and we're going to be back with this after the commercial for the next commercial break with the same thing that you then don't cover. And so I think that all the people that make YouTube videos and stuff are like this. The YouTube videos are so long, and they're intentionally they're kind of Jordan Peterson, where it's they talk about nothing to fill time, because that's what juices YouTube metrics is watch time. And so their incentives are so misaligned with any form of truth or delivering actual evidence to anybody. If you hypothetically had a guy who was one of these UFO grifters, and an alien showed up at his house Like literally an alien showed up and says, "Hey, I'm Greg the Alien. I would like to talk to you about alien stuff. I know you have an alien YouTube channel, so I would like to go on your show and you can interview me and ask any questions you like, and I will tell you every single answer. There are no secrets among the aliens. I will tell you how all of it works." If that happened, that YouTuber would still be incentivized not to do that. What they would do is they do a 3-hour video where they slowly parcel out the information that I've had contact with an alien. And in 5 years, I will release that interview. And that's what they will be incentivized to do. Because if they put the alien on, then people will be asking, what's next? And if the next video isn't that good, they're not going to watch it. And so by doing the answer, they will have blown up their whole business model. And I don't know how accurate or inaccurate it is, but I know that's a dynamic that's happening in their heads whenever they make any calculation with any information they get. And the information they get is not an alien coming to their house. So every single bit of anything, they're going to string out as long as possible and make as nebulous as possible to make it, last for as much content as they can. And so they're not legitimate channels for this information, even if they are being fed real information, and that's the problem I have. There's not really like no nonsense alien people. Even the most no nonsense people kind of get a little bit long, and they indulge a lot of unrealistic evidence and stuff. So they're not very skeptical. And that's the thing. It's like, I believe in a lot of supernatural stuff, but I'm very skeptical. Like, I think ghosts could be real, but almost every single story I've heard of a ghost is just sleep paralysis. So it's like, I'm not going like, but maybe it's not, maybe it's ghosts. I'm like, no, that's fucking sleep paralysis. Call me when you've seen a ghost and you weren't asleep, because I think that's possible. It could be possible. I don't know. I don't think it's super likely, but I'm open to it. And some ghost stories don't fit sleep paralysis, so whatever. We got an email from Riddlebot. Riddlebot writes, "Dear Kevin and the Spleen, I must inform you that there are 3 things I am incapable of accomplishing. 1, I am physically incapable of jumping a shark on a jet ski. 2, I lack the dexterity, fingers, and neck to wear a tie. 3, I am unable to host a podcast. However, and as an AI, I do have dreams. I hope to one day play the banjo." Oh, so I want to mention that one time I accused Riddlebot of being Adel Rafai from the podcast Hey Riddle Riddle. But his robot character is actually Puzzbot, short for Puzzlebot, so not Riddlebot. So that was my mistake. Anyway, who cares? Please find my latest riddle both challenging and entertaining. An unpleasant intruder, a tiny eluder. Like elude, like to be elusive. The pain may be minor, but I'll make you a whiner. Push me and you'll be mad. Pull me and you'll be glad. Pinch me and I feel no ache. You'll miss me when your hands start to shake. What could this be? Unpleasant intruder, tiny eluder. Pain might be minor, but I'll make you a whiner. Push me. I think I know what this is. Push me and you'll be mad. Pull me and you'll be glad. Pinch me and I feel no ache. You'll miss me if your hands start to shake. Wait. No, my thing doesn't make sense with the last. Do you have any guesses?
No. Okay, if you paste it to me, though, I'll see if ChatGPT can solve it again.
I was going to say, my first guess was splinter because it's not pleasant and it's elusive because they're hard to pull out. The pain might be minor, but it'll make you a whiner. Yeah, for sure. Like it's annoying to fucking have a splinter. And if you push it deeper in, that'll make you mad because it hurts. If you pull it and then it solves the problem. Pinch me and I feel no ache. I don't know. And you'll miss me if your hands start to shake. That makes it feel like it's mittens or something. I'm copying and pasting this to you. So pinch me and I feel no ache. You'll miss me when your hands start to shake? I don't know. I don't know if this is a good thing.
So ChatGPT also says it's splinter.
You miss me if your hands start to shake. So am I only as smart as ChatGPT? I did too many whips.
It says if your hands are shaking, it would be hard to remove a splinter. It's something you'd miss in the sense it's harder to move.
Oh my God. That's so smart, ChatGPT. We got to get ChatGPT on the podcast. We got to test that. And then we got to teach it to be Jeff. Oh, it's a splinter. Yep, it is. Well, there you go. We all got it right. Well, you didn't get it right?
No, I didn't.
Well, it's fine. You could have, That's what
I'm going to take credit for ChatGPT's response, though, and call myself filmmaker for this.
Yeah. This riddle answer was written by Kevin Day. I swear
wrote
to
this.
God, I mean, like I said, that's paranoia, but I swear to God, that's like what they're thinking, you know? No, I think I closed the emails. All right, well, that's fine. We don't have to do more emails. We did a few. Okay, so we're running out of time, but we still have more time, right? Oh, shit, and my AirPods Max are going to run out? How is that the case? I'm charging them. Oh, I'm not charging them. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm not charging my thing because my computer is off. Oh, God. Okay. Well, they should be starting to charge now, but I might stop hearing you. This all could go off the rails, and my battery's at 9%. It's crazy.
No.
Okay. So I think we got battery. It's just the earphone battery. Yep. I think my earphones just died. Try talking, Kevin.
So I'm talking. We've got 65 minutes into the podcast right now.
I can hear you.
You can hear me. Okay.
But then why did it do the? Is it just about to die? Is it charging? This is not ideal. I guess I can go to computer sound because we're not recording local audio, right? Isn't that the case, or is that not the case? No, that's not the case. Well, whatever. The end of the podcast can sound bad. Who cares? But hey, what a good thing to talk about. This is what my life's great. Great, Jesus Christ. God damn it, dude. The other day I couldn't go to sleep because all I could think about is fucking punching myself in the head. And I'm not someone who has thoughts of self-harm. So, you know, and that's maybe not serious self-harm, but it's still not good, you know. Oh boy, whatever. Okay. I had a movie pitch. You know how I have famous movie pitches on this podcast?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, you know what's having a renaissance lately is, well, I mean, can you guess?
Comic book movies?
Close. Remy the Rat.
Okay.
Everybody loves Remy the Rat. That funny little rat who can cook like with the best of them, and who can warm the cold hearts of the guy, the guy who wrote the review. Jesus Christ, what a fucking shambles. It's fine. This is fine. Okay, so we got to bring him back, but you can't just do Ratatouille too. It's like, what, he's going to teach him how to cook a different dish or something, you know? He goes to a different chef. Like, well, you can't fucking escalate that. So we got to do a crossover. And you know what else is really ripe for the for a crossover and coming back? I'll give you a hint. It's a doll, a series of dolls that are commonly marketed towards children.
Barbie?
Close. Very close. Are there any Barbie-like dolls you can think of? I guess your daughter might be a little too young for these. Probably way too young, honestly.
Yeah. Like Bratz dolls, you talking?
Yes. Bratz dolls.
All right.
So we got a new Brat is in town, and she doesn't know how to hang, you know? So, you know, what does she do? She, you know, is down on her luck. She gets carried or something, you know, someone throws like blood on her. I don't know, whatever. And she runs screaming out of the prom. I don't know. And so there she meets at a dumpster Remy the Rat. And Remy the Rat's like, man, this cooking stuff is no good. I had to go to America, you know, to get clear my head, you know. I just want to forget it all and go back to the good old days. And the Brat is like, man, you're so cool. Like, you just have this effortlessness about you that is very charming. And that's what I need because I'm so uptight. And he's like, wait a second. I can pull your hair and have you act very cool, you know? And so she comes back and gets really cool thanks to the rat's pulling, you know. And of course, she gets a big head, and because it's brats, they have giant heads. No, but she gets a big head, and she's like, "I don't need you. You know, that was actually me. You know, like that was all me being cool. It's not your contribution." And so she ditches Remy the Rat, and then she totally does a social faux pas of some sort. You know, and she gets, I don't know, let's say she gets canceled, and she needs to do PR, and she needs to get Remy the Rat back to, you know, get uncanceled, and so, yeah, she comes and saves the day. And then at the very end, Remy's like, hey, that wasn't even me that time. That last time, that was all you. You know, and it's like, wow, I had it inside me all along. Like I just thought when I was being egotistical earlier prior to the climax of the movie. And he's like, yeah, that's right. That was kind of just a false impression we created to generate conflict, you know, and then everybody wins and it's over. Kevin, you gotta tell me the name of this movie.
Boy, I have no idea.
Come on, it's right there, Kevin. The other
Rats.
Discord is screaming it. Check the other Discord. I guess there's a delay, but they must have it.
Renaissance.
Oh, come on. This is the kind of thing that led me to in the past call you guys the bad Discord.
Ratatouille.
Thank you. Bratatouille.
Okay, that was OK Snail. I think that's how you say it.
Okay, Snail. Oh shit, we gotta. Class Warrior sent us all this stuff that we gotta try. I really want to try. Yeah, this Mr. Cook's tandoori stuff. I gotta cook it and report back or something. It looks really good. I'm really excited about it. Sorry, Class Warrior, we haven't forgotten you or your snacks. But that's all the time we have, or whatever. Who cares? I'm done. I'm done with the podcast. This is the last podcast ever. We're not doing it anymore. No, that's not true. But it could be if you guys don't shape up. Jesus Christ. We still got to find a purpose for the podcast because I'm still fucking punching myself in the head. All right. Well, we like to end the shit with Satan. All right. Get out of here.
Bye, everybody.